and welcome to the RANsquawk weekly wrap. So just going to take a look at the main events that have happened this week and the weekend elections in Germany, and then take a look ahead to next week and the key events going forward. So this week in Europe it has been pretty politically orientated following the elections last weekend. So that included the French presidential election where we saw Hollande elected as the new French president, and we also saw the Greek general election. So this saw no real majority, which means that the mandate was then passed to several parties to try and form a coalition. So initially we saw it passed to the winners in the election, so that's the New Democracy Party and the leader Samras. He had the mandate and he was unable to form a coalition within just 6 hours, passing the mandate back to the president. So we then saw this mandate then passed to the next party along that got the second largest votes in the election. That's the Syriza party. Again, they failed to form a coalition, handing back the mandate within 24 hours. So as of a couple of days ago, we saw that then passed on to the PASOK leader Venizelos, and he has the mandate as I speak. He's looking to form a coalition and has just 3 days to do so. If he then fails to do so, this mandate will be passed back to the president and new elections will be called for in Greece. So any developments on this over the weekend will be much in focus. Any sort of coalition being formed would be good news for Greece. It would mean no new elections, and it would also mean they have a better chance to pass the further austerity measures which are needed. So that's of around 11.5 billion euros in spending cuts. These have to be made by the 30th of June, otherwise Greece may not receive its next tranche of aid. Now, in other news in terms of political events, this weekend sees the North Rhine-Westphalia state election in Germany. So this parliament was dissolved in March on the back of failure to pass budgetary measures. So dissolved, and now there's new elections being held on Sunday. So this will be key as it's the largest state in Germany, be a good indication of sentiment going into the federal elections for Germany. So the CDU party, that's Merkel's party, they recently, or until recently, had quite a large share of votes. However, they have suffered some defeats recently. They were tied at the weekend election, the last state election in Germany, with the SPD party. So it'll be interesting to see whether they maintain their lead or they actually are defeated, or they have a share of the votes on Sunday. So that'll be key for Merkel going ahead, especially with all this political turmoil. But in terms of the political events, that's the main points really. Now let's just take a look at next week and the key events going forward. So just taking a look ahead to the key events for next week, and we kick-start on Monday with the Eurogroup meeting. So this is scheduled ahead of the ECOFIN meeting on Tuesday. So the key bits of focus on this will be any talk with the new French President Hollande. In his election campaign, he did propose changing or making adjustments to the fiscal compact, so it's likely this will be discussed on the Monday and Tuesday meetings. As well as there's a lot of attention will be paid to Spain, especially after today when they announced banking sector reforms, as well as talk recently of changing their deficit targets for the coming year. As well as these meetings, we also have the GDP readings for several Eurozone countries at the beginning of the week. Again, important considering the EU forecasts we saw today, where they've cut a lot of GDP forecasts and also changed the debt and deficit targets for several of the Eurozone countries. Now, in terms of Spain, we also have a bond auction on Thursday, so again, key to decide or have a look at the sentiment in regards to appetite for Spanish paper. But the key event next week will be the FOMC minutes. So that's scheduled on Wednesday at 7 o'clock London time. So this is for the April meeting. At this meeting, we saw no real change in policy projections. They reiterated they'll keep rates low until late 2014. However, the last decision was slightly less dovish than the markets had been anticipating. So it will be very interesting to see the results of these minutes and to take a look at any sort of projections or commentary from individual Fed members. But in terms of the events for next week, they're the key ones. In terms of this week, we're pretty much done for the whole week, and we'll join you bright and early on Monday morning. But in the meantime, hope you have a very pleasant evening and also a very pleasant weekend. Thank you.